Today, our guest is Professor Dr. Fabian, who holds the chair of Human Resource Management and Asian Business at the University of Göttingen. His research focuses on the future of work, international human resource management, cross-cultural management, and Asian business. He has published widely in leading journals such as the Journal of International Business Studies, Journal of Management Studies, Journal of Applied Psychology, and Human Resource Management. His work has been recognized with numerous international awards, including several Best Paper prizes from the Academy of Management, Academy of International Business, and European Academy of Management. He is also one of the guest editors of a special issue, The Future of Work Around the World, Implications for Human Resource Management. Starting with the interview, the first question is, how does this special issue build on the growing global discourse following recent work on the future of HRM and workforce transformation?
For the future work for human resource management, some trends are maybe even more important. I mean, some very general trends such as demographic change. People are getting older. There's a scarcity of labor, of people available. The other mega trend that is affecting people at work is also digital technologies. Yeah, so nowadays, also this conversation we're now having is now not face to face, it's virtually. And that's not only our interview, that's the daily work. And I think in particular in countries such as India, Philippines, there's a lot of international connections, people working together from distant countries by different digital communication tools. And companies have to arrange that, and they have to enable people, then also perform in these professional interactions and exchanges. And then other trends such as globalization, geopolitical changes or tensions, as we've witnessed these days, are all problematic, and they all also present major barriers and challenges for companies. And then for companies, of course, they need to find ways how to manage these challenges. And I think this is the topic that we would like to address in our special issue, how companies can manage these challenges and find solutions that are beneficial for their own companies, but also for the employees, for people, because they would like to recruit, motivate, and retain people, and then they need to find ways. Our special issue in one regard is also special. So our focus is also on the global aspects. I myself, I'm based in Germany, an industrialized nation, and a lot of wealth is being created in these countries. But of course, there's so many other countries in what we call the global south, or emerging markets, India, China, and so forth. These are all very important economies. Yet I would imagine, I'm not an expert on this yet, but I would like to know more about how Indian companies manage these tensions. And I would imagine they sometimes have different approaches. And I know from innovation management, you call it frugal innovation, having less resources, yet being very resourceful, being able to manage things that are not being thought that are possible. And that, as an editor, I would be very curious to hear more about. What is, for instance, I don't know if there is any Indian way, or from other countries or from other regions. How do they tackle similar challenges from different perspectives? How do they find solutions? And now, of course, what companies from Germany, from the US can maybe also learn then from these experiences?
We have been receiving a lot of papers from the global north, and that has somehow set a precedence like for the global south. And now people are looking inward, they're looking towards their own countries, trying to produce, indigenous research. So definitely we are looking forward to a lot of papers from these countries, from the global south. So the next question would be, how are sustainability and the rise of green economies reshaping skill requirements and HR practices globally?
Yeah, that's also a mega trend I should have mentioned previously. Sustainability, green economy, energy, environmental issues. I think these are very important aspects. And they're also among the most important sustainable development goals. In terms of HR, I think I would like to split into two aspects. The one would be more related to green environmental issues. There's important how companies can deal with that. How can they become greener and use less resources? And the other aspect would be sustainability, so long-term success. And I think both aspects are important. And then from corporate perspective, it would be important then also to enable environments, so that people can have sustainable long-term careers inside their organizations, or even if not within the organizations, then in the long run, having more this ecosystem perspective. And then also these skills relate to green economy. So equip people with necessary skills that are needed to work efficiently and also successfully also in the long run. And so that requires constant reskilling and training, and that would be very important to enable that. So that means HR plays a key role in enabling sustainability and green economies. It is, of course, as I would like to say, my first aspect, it's a change that we're witnessing, and how companies then also can react and then enable people to thrive in these environments.
How does this special issue build on the growing global discourse following recent work on the future of HRM and workforce transformation?
So what we've seen in literature a lot, so I'm thinking of now the academic discourse, if that's what you're referring to, yeah? Okay, academic discourse. There's a lot of research on these topics. There's a lot of research on expatriation, globalization, global aspects. That has been there for 30 plus years. There's also a lot of research on sustainability in general. And in terms of digital transformation, AI and so forth, this is a very new topic, which has been only recently introduced, I would say. I mean, some aspects of course, digital technologies are not new per se. Yeah, but before it was some more simplified, but now AI and so forth. And a lot has happened in recent years. And I would say the majority of research primarily was conducted, as you mentioned, the global north. Yeah, so in these rich industrialized economies. And now I think that's also what we would like to look at in our special issue is what's happening in the global south, what's happening in emerging markets. And as we know, sometimes whenever there's change is a challenge for many companies, but it also presents opportunities. And maybe even for companies in these so-called global south or emerging economies, that could also create opportunities because they are not bound by traditions or by their existing pathways. Maybe they can leapfrog, they can jump one level, so to say, and immediately adopt latest technologies, new perspectives. And that I would particularly expect maybe in the area of digital technologies. In coming from Germany, from Europe, we are very restricted. We have EU regulations. We are not allowed to use all kinds of AI tools because of data privacy issues and so forth. And I don't know the context of India or some other countries, but I know some countries are much more open. They're open. So the regulatory environment is open. The people are more open. And so I see tremendous opportunities that in some areas, emerging markets or companies from emerging markets, they can become global market leaders because of more open-mindedness of their own managers, of employees, of governments that try to support, catch up. And these are the great opportunities I can see and that we would like to see also in our special issue.
There's definitely a debate about the openness and the use of AI and how much and how far we are willing to take that. Even in terms of scholarly craft, there has been a debate as to should we use AI as a co-author? Should it be just an assistant? Yeah. I think these debates are just like going on and on. So many people are speaking for it that, oh, yes, this is such a good opportunity. And it does not take away human responsibility from us. And then some people like, of course, it does take away the human responsibility. And there is a certain bias, but I think we are working towards a better coherent future with the AI as well. So my next question would be about AI. So while AI enhances efficiency, it also raises concerns around bias and unintended consequences. How do organizations balance innovation with ethical governance?
Some people, they juxtapose them. They say these are contradictions. I don't think it needs to be a contradiction. So I think the much better approach would be to combine these two. So fairness aspects, ethical issues would be part of governance, and already from the early stage on. And I do witness the opposite, that companies do introduce AI, and then people are confronted with the new system, and they're completely mad because they think it's unfair. They're dissatisfied, may in worst case they even leave the company. So what would be a much better approach would be to integrate all these aspects from the early stage on, from the development stage. Yeah, maybe that even developers work together with HR people, HR staff, maybe also with employees or job candidates later on, so that already at the inception, at the design stage, they integrate fairness. In another aspect, I think, which is even more important nowadays, would be trust. Do you trust the system? Do you trust AI and so forth? And then to create AI systems that are perceived as fair from multiple stakeholders, not just convenient and cost effective, maybe from those who implement it, but also the ones who are exposed to it or who are supposed to work with AI. And I think that would be the ideal solution, and maybe even the opposite approach, integrating it early on and taking advantage of it. And then by doing so, maybe even become an innovative leader in developing new AI tools, for us in the context maybe of human resource management.
How does globalization continue to influence talent mobility and workforce structure across countries?
Yeah, globalization is an evergreen topic. Yeah, we have seen globalization, deglobalization. Then we have seen all kinds of crises, health crisis, geopolitical crisis, and so forth. Yet global mobility, expatriation remain important topics. People relocate across borders. They seek opportunities. Companies, they go abroad to tap into talent pools. Nowadays, I think, again, we are at a turning point somehow. And I think I see two major trends. The one would be we have more geopolitical tensions and governments that try to regulate. So it means international relocation, even traveling, becomes more difficult these days, or more hassle. And so that would be a factor that would maybe reduce relocation, expatriation. And then on the other hand, another factor, we have now increased digitalization. So also today, you and I, we can talk. I guess you are in India, right? And I'm in Germany. So two different countries, but we can talk, via digital communication tools. We could also work together, do a project together via digital tools. So that provides huge opportunities. So collaboration, work across borders without relocation. And that means opportunities for people. So global talent, they can work from India, from Indonesia, work for a US company in America, maybe earn American salaries while living in a much lower cost country. For companies, that's also a great benefit. Maybe they don't pay US salaries, they pay in between salaries, still higher than local averages, but they can tap into great talent pools. That's a great opportunity for companies having access to a broad global talent pool, without the necessity to relocate abroad. So I think these two forces, one, reduced maybe relocation of global talent, but more opportunities to work globally or virtually. So we see maybe a somewhat major or sudden shift from less maybe long-term relocation to more virtual, global, flexible work, which presents opportunities and also challenges. And that's, again, what we would like to hear more about in our special issue.
So, what kind of work are you expecting? What kind of papers are you expecting to receive for the special issue? What are you enthusiastic about when it comes to special issue?
Yeah. So first of all, I would be welcome and welcome any kind of paper, in particular, of course, papers that touch upon these major topics of global future work. And so we talked about digitalization, AI specifically. We talked about expatriation, sustainability, So these will be the broad topics that are important for companies, for human resource management, and also for individuals, for global talent. And the special issue is based in your institution and based also in India. And what I would hope then also to see a lot of submissions that do focus on context, because that could also set it apart and or build upon previous research. So what do maybe Indian companies or companies from the global south or other emerging or developing countries, how do they deal with these challenges? What solutions do they find? And of course, we would like to see some practical relevance and practical implications. In addition, of course, it's a scholarly journal, it's academic journal. We also would like them to be based in solid theories and make some theoretical contributions. And that I and we, our team, would like to hope to receive submissions that deal with these topics.
Thank you so much, sir. It was wonderful talking to you.